Today's little video is around creating a product and how to create a product and understanding the product card a little bit better. Okay, so if we come to the inventory option here, it'll open all your charts and graphs and stuff like that. You can either just simply go across to this product drop down and select new product, or select from the list, whichever way you want to go. This will load your list, and from here you can view this list in either what we call list mode or tile mode, which is an option like so. So list mode, I can search, do all my options that I want to do from here. Exactly the same for tile mode. It'll load all my tiles and views, and I can see it in pictures and stuff like that. Now, keep in mind, on your list, you can alter how many pictures you see per row, or you can view it whichever way you like. All right, let's go look at a couple of things. So I'm going to remove this, go back to my apples, and we'll drill into apple just as an example. So name at the top, quantity you can't adjust. That's transaction based. So there'll be transactions behind that, and you can see them in more detail when you come down here to what's available, what's on sales order, what's on back order, what's in stock, and what's on a purchase order coming in the door. Now, all these fields you can drill into, and it'll give you the values and transactions behind those and what makes it up, like so. You can make any changes to that as you see fit. All right. Next important field is this one, inventory. There are three types of products. You have inventory, which then uses all three accounts. So a sales account, a COGS account, and an inventory account. Now, each of those is changeable. You can move them around as much as you like, but it tracks all three. So if you're doing an inventory INV style product, you're tracking stock. You want to know the quantity on hand. Next one down is non-inventory. And non-inventory just tracks the sales and your COGS. There's no asset. So non-inventory doesn't track quantities of stock. So that's not something you would try to consolidate. You might have, I want to carry all my nuts and bolts. You want to know the cost and the income, but you don't care about how many nuts and bolts you carry. And then the lucky last is what's called other type. So an other product type simply tracks income. And a good example of that might be servicing or training or stuff like that. So it ignores COGS and it ignores asset. So sales account is the only thing that's tracked when you put the product type to other. Now, once you've created that product, you can't alter its type. If you suddenly decide to make a non-inventory part inventory, you need to create a new part. You can't switch between the two. It gets confused. All right, subgroups. This is where you can add more detail for tracking, and you might say, give me all my products that are in the fruit area, and it'll give you a list of all the products that fit into that category. All right, let's go down. Accounts. Units of measure is, in essence, I want to look at my different products. So this is our unit of measure list here. I can track in all sorts of different units of measure, whether I do it as a pack of 12, 24, I can do it as a pallet, a rack, whatever you choose. So a unit of measure takes a quantity of each and says how many of those will fit into a pallet, for argument's sake. So this pallet will take 72 each. I know that sounds confusing. Or it might be lineal meters or yards or whatever you choose. All right, let's go back. So next one, just look at our apple. So skimming down, you then have a bunch of information in this section. Now, this is where, when you turn on I track this product, obviously it's going to be tracking your stock. Bill of materials, I'll go to in a second. You have serial numbers, so that's for each individual apple. You're going to track each individual apple. Lot numbers is a group. It's a pallet or a box of apples. You don't care about the individual apple. You want to know the box of apples. And this is relevant because if you have a problem with one of the apples in the box, you at least know when you purchase the box of apples where that apple came from. So lot numbers is a group, serial numbers is the individual. Here you can stick in your preferred supplier. That will adjust as you make purchases on and off. And there is an option here to request for quote for apples from multiple suppliers. Now, I'll go into request for quote in a different video, but that's the option there, request for quote. Department is where you might have two different warehouses. You might have a head office and another warehouse in another location. That means you would see two department fields here, one for head office and one for the other location. Now that's unlimited. You can have as many of those as you want. And then you can view that when you're looking at your product list. You can look at your departments as a whole, which is what it loads by default, or you can select the department that you want to filter on, like so. All right, let me go back. And down the bottom here, you have customer styled discounts. So retail, wholesale, all those sorts of things. You can make up your own type of discounts, whatever you want, simply adding the button, and how much discount you offer that customer. Now, that's relevant when you look at your customer list, and we'll pick a customer. So down the bottom here, under invoicing, you would select the customer type here. Now, if they belong to the fruit industry type, they would by default, when they purchased apples, get a 5% discount. That's how that'll work. So the discount on the product card can be a default for everything, or you can specify which group relates to. All right, let's go back to inventory. If you're doing manufacturing and a bill of materials style, or kits, some people call them kits, like our wagon here, again, for the basic structure of the product, you have all the similar options, units of measure, taxes, all those sorts of things. The difference here is your bill of materials. You have a little drill down option here, and this will show you what makes up the wagon. So all the individual components that make up a wagon, including the sub of that. So the wheel assembly is an individual build as well, or you can do it as a total. So this wagon now has these pieces of raw material that make it up as a total. Now, if we go back, you can also put quality assurance associated with that wagon. So every time we do that, we need to check these different options on whatever we're going to run with that wagon. We can add different pieces there. And lucky last, down the bottom, you can turn on what recent transactions have happened with this and drill all the way back into those. So there you go. There's a basic understanding of inventory and how it all ties together and how to set up your product card. Now keep in mind, you've got a bunch of different reports and charts on the front here. When you're running things like check min max levels, this is very relevant for, if I jump back into apples, min max levels is where you say, I want this to never drop below the quantity of 5, but don't order more than 10. So when you're setting up a min max, that will go off and check for all the products that have dropped below their minimum quantity. If it has, it'll create automatically a purchase order to bring the quantity back to 10. So when I'm looking at my inventory over here, if I simply hit this button, it'll go off and check all my stock and say these products have dropped below the minimum level, bring them back to the maximum level, and it'll make a PO automatically for you to do that. Awesome thing. Very, very cool. All right, under manufacturing as well, you can just isolate you can just look at your BOMs that you have. So you can look at the full product list or just focus on just BOMs, just what you've got there. That's under manufacturing and bill of materials. But again, if we come back to inventory, from here, you can make a new product from here. Click on here as well, go to the drop down product list, and away you go. So I hope that made sense. Again, if there's anything you're unsure about, please just pause the video, go back, watch it again. But I hope that made sense.